Welcome to the Daily Grind, a Bluff City Media daily podcast. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Luke Hatmaker. Grab your favorite morning brew and let's get to the show.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Surprise! It is not Luke Hatmaker. Luke is still out of town, and so I'm stepping in as the temporary co-host. Don't worry, Luke will be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, I got my guy, Jared Davidson, again with me. Jared, how was the weekend, buddy?
Oh, man, the weekend was great. Got to come down to Memphis on Saturday, watched a ton of football, and Sunday got to do one of the best things ever, just kind of sit down and relax. And what felt like I literally looked at Amy yesterday, and it was kind of like, hey, this is almost like every Sunday now, so we can finally relax. Busy summer is now kind of winding down, and the busyness is confined into the work week. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah. Love that, man. Glad we'll get into more of it in the weekend outlook at the end, but I'm glad you're here. I was outside this morning, came a little flash storm here in Memphis, had a lot of thunder, lightning, all that kind of stuff this morning, but I did get to talk to my neighbor this morning, and it turns out, Jared, he won Dentist of the Year. It's a very prestigious award. Couldn't believe he won it. And I said, well, how do you feel? He goes, well, he said, all I wanted was a trophy, but instead they just gave me some plaque. Welcome to the Daily Grind, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. Wayno, Edward in the comments already. Look, the best you could get from me is a pun. You're not going to get a singing intro.
And you don't want me singing. So,
but speaking of singing, we're going to stick around in Memphis. I don't know. I'm trying to transition or trying to be like Luke with the professional transition. But Bleacher Report has been kind of carrying the show a bit this summer, as Luke just said. They released an article over the weekend about where they ranked the starting lineups of NBA teams. And we're going to go through a few key ones, obviously, starting with the Memphis Grizzlies. And those of you keeping up at home, I know, Jared, you've seen it because I talked to you about it. I sent you the link for the article a few minutes ago. I was a bit surprised at what Bleacher Report had to say, to be quite honest, in a positive way, Jared. The Bleacher Report writers ranked the Memphis Grizzlies, gave them a grade of A-, which all things considered from a national news outlet, I think is a pretty positive sign. I mean, I think we can be happy with an A- given the offseason we had, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And if you look in that article, I think their big point was obviously, two of their big points was, KCP coming in and replacing Desmond Bane, but they also pointed out this huge stat where Morant, Wells, and Jackson and Edey, when those four shared the court together, destroyed teams by 25.5 points per 100 possessions and rating 98th percentile on offense and 99th on defense. You throw in KCP with that once you get to a full healthy starting five. I mean, did I think A-? Not necessarily, because, we haven't seen these guys outside of, those four that I just mentioned play together. We haven't seen this team play without a Desmond Bane in 4 years, it feels like. So it's interesting. I'm kind of shocked they went A-, but that big glaring stat, when you look at it with those four guys and Ja, Wells, Tripp, and Edey, that 25.5 points per 100 possessions, it's valid.
I do share some of the concerns. I do share some of the concerns you talked about. Yeah, like defensively, this team is going to be a menace. But I do think we're going to miss Desmond Bane's shooting prowess on our starting lineup. He was kind of the guy that we could always count on that could get buckets, that was, fly-by king. Like he was our sharpshooter. And as much grief as we gave him for being a running back, trying to play quarterback and dribbling the ball off his foot and all the issues that he did have, the one thing that you can't say is that he was not, like, he was a good shooter. And we're going to miss that threat because I think he kind of helped space the floor a bit for Ja and Jaren. We need to get some of that three-point production back from KCP. He had he was elite in Denver, had a big drop-off in Orlando. I've said it before on the show. I do think that that's a large part of just all the injuries that Orlando had last year. He was thrust into more of that kind of that number one star type role, which is not who he is. And so if we can replace is hard. If we can even like get a little bit out of KCP and Jalen Wells and Ty Jerome enough to kind of compensate for the lack of Desmond Bane, then the A- fits.
Yeah, and I think you're going to get more out of KCP than what you got with him in Orlando, simply because, and Sane kind of just hit the nail on the head. The
it's over. That's what I was saying.
Overblown. because you look at what he had in Denver playing with an elite playmaker like Jokic, and then he gets a guy like Ja where, KCP can kind of motion into the corner when Ja drives, kind of offsetting it. And I think that shooting slump, getting him in a rhythm would be great. But also, too, you kind of try to recreate Desmond Bane's shooting. Rusty, you can start naming different guys. What was it? Moneyball, trying to recreate it in the aggregate.
That's it.
Exactly. So that's what's going to have to happen. And so, I think his shooting percentage is going to take another step this year back up to where it was, simply because he's playing with another great playmaker.
Yeah, and a guy who can distribute the ball like Nikola Jokic. I agree with saying that's what I was saying earlier. It's so overblown. It was simply a byproduct of just Orlando not having anybody. And
they didn't have a playmaker.
Yeah, and KCP is an elite shooter still. He's going to be an elite shooter, and he's going to contribute on both sides of the ball, but he's not going to have to carry the water by himself because, like Wayno said, we've got two guys that are getting more touches without Desmond Bane, one being John Morant and the other being Jaren Jackson Jr. As long as you have those two cats on your team, your offense is going to be okay. Ja just needs to get healthy and stay healthy and play 65, 70 games, and Jaren needs to continue his development as a 20 points per game DPOY player, and we're going to be just fine.
Hey, and seeing him out of the boot right now, moving around a little bit more, it's seemed great. I know you're the Ask Dr. Buckets guy, but seeing the progression so far, I like where we're headed towards the start of the season.
Yeah, it feels like he's right on target. He might be slightly ahead of pace, but it feels like he's right on target for a return slightly after the start of the season. I don't know that we're going to miss a ton of games without him. We may not miss any games if he's ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
But seeing him move around at his camp over the weekend and watching him kind of move, it seems like he's ahead of schedule. Whatever he did, Joe Burrow is going to need a taste of that as well. After he went down yesterday, likely going to miss 3 months with a turf toe type injury as well. But of note, a couple other teams, obviously the Denver Nuggets got an A from Bleacher Report. I mean, with what they did overhauling their team, it's well worth it. One that was interesting to me is the Detroit Pistons. They gave him a B. With a starting lineup of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Ashur Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. I guess because, you had so much time missed last year with Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren missed with injury, Jared, but I feel like they're a bit higher than a B. And then you turn around and they give Golden State an A-, and it's like.
Yeah, I saw that one, and that was the first real big question mark I saw in this article. I mean, Kuminga, has he – what is
no,
he
he's still not signed. No.
Okay,
their starting lineup is listed as Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Al Horford, and Brandon Podziemski. If Pods is in your starting lineup and then you give them an A-, that is West Coast bias for sure.
Yeah, that I don't agree with that much at all.
Houston Rockets got an A. The Indiana Pacers could go from an A to a C- with the losing Miles Turner, losing Tyrese Halliburton for the season. The Clippers are a solid B, and then finally the Lakers are a B as well for some starting lineups around the NBA.
Yeah, another one, I don't know if you mentioned the Spurs being a B. I think they're going to rely a lot on the rookies and Stephon Castle along with a healthy Wemby. I think if you get a healthy Wemby, a guy that is just a freak of nature that has the potential to be maybe a B+ or an A-, but I like the Spurs. I do like the Spurs. I like that B ranking because I think they have what it kind of in that little area for them.
Yeah. The last one that kind of sits weird with me is Milwaukee. And I Kyle Kuzma, I know we've had some clowns in our comments clamoring for him to be a Memphis Grizzly. And if that's you are a clown. Wear that proudly. But Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Miles Turner are listed as their starters. Any team that has Giannis on it is automatically a letter grade up. And the rest of those guys might be a D, but Giannis to me makes the starting lineup at least a C, especially when you can get Cole Anthony worked in there some. I see Wemby working out with Elijah Wan this all season might be the most catastrophic thing that's ever happened to the NBA. Because if he can develop just that true, just smooth footwork and post work like Elijah Wan did, my God, we are all cooked. But the Milwaukee Bucks being a D is a bit of a reach when you've got one of the best players on the planet.
Well, here's the thing. You talked about elevating any starting lineup with Giannis in it up a letter grade. Who says that they're not upgrading it from an F to a D? Simply because
That's
you look
fair.
at it, KPJ, Gary Trent, Kyle Kuzma, and then Miles Turner.
Yeah, and Miles Turner's proven he can only play with a certain type of player, right? Like he ran Domantas Sabonis out of town in Indiana, and all he is a walking double-double.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see especially if we get the playoff Miles Turner, like, then you're right. Then maybe this is a bit more of a lift from an F to a D, because Miles Turner is very unique in who he can play with. And I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to play alongside Giannis, who requires a lot of time in the paint. Can Miles Turner return some of the three-point shooting that we've seen him do in stretches during the regular season?
I think if you were to separate this, your 4 and 5 spots are a B at least, and then B plus, but then your 1 through 3 is definitely F tier.
Yeah. Exactly. So last one, Orlando Magic with our former Desmond Bane that we talked about did get an A-. Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Polo Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. is a very formidable lineup in a down Eastern Conference. I do like that A- feels appropriate. Again, they went and fixed the need that they had last year, which they were the worst three-point shooting team in the league. And they went and got a guy who is a solid 41.6% from three. He's shot on 39.7 last year. Jalen Suggs shot 39.7 last year. So if you can get that kind of production and Desmond Bane being like his old self, then like this Orlando Magic team is going to earn that A. And yes, Wayno, when we were putting this together, we were thinking about you, brother, so that you stayed up late, you get some NBA talk. You're welcome.
Oh yeah. I think the thing is though, can the Magic live up to the hype? With all the injuries in the Eastern Conference, they've been propped up, especially with the Desmond Bane trade. I think they did fill a gigantic hole, but I think there is still some things that this team needs to work on. I don't know how much I trust Suggs as a true point guard. He's shown that he can be that true point guard. Because there's a lot of talks of them trying to go get another point guard this offseason date, because there's rumors of Tyus going there down in Orlando. Didn't he end up?
He did. He did. He ended up in Orlando.
Yeah.
So they got a backup, serviceable backup. Jalen Suggs will be the starting point guard, and he should be. He's an elite defender. Yeah. He distributes the ball well. If he can shoot, his last fully healthy season is when he shot 39.7 from three. That was 23-24. If he can return to a semblance of that, and then you got Tyus off the bench, who we've seen Tyus comes in, and when you need buckets, you can count on Tyus Stones Jones to get them for you. This Orlando team has an opportunity to be deep. They're going to be great defensively. The biggest thing is, can they stay healthy? They have the three major oblique injuries in the NBA last year are now all on the same team, Jared. And so can they stay healthy when it matters?
Yeah, can they stay healthy when it matters? And also, too, can you get Bane into that more of off-ball, spot-up shooting movement and to where he's not having to dribble down into the lane? I think if you can get Bane into that off-ball motion to find him open off-ball screens or any kind of play set to where he does not have to drive the ball into the lane and dribble off his foot, I think Orlando can fulfill that A- grade.
Yep, exactly. So, Wayno, you're welcome. That's our basketball talk for the day. We're less than a month away from training camp, just a few weeks away from media day, the start of training camp. Preseason basketball will be here before we know it. We've made it, guys. We've almost made it to October. But that means on the other side of the break, we do have some football to talk about, Wayno, the real kind of football, the good kind of football, the one where you use less of your feet, but you actually run and tackle people, which is way better. So stick around after the commercial break. We're going to be talking a little bit of football.
This game is coming down on the wire here in
Georgia
Knoxville.
has beaten Tennessee
8 in a row.
Straight games, a margin of victory of 20+ on average in games in which the current Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel has been there.
Tennessee has got 3rd and 5, 7 seconds to go. Offense is still on the field. It looks like they're going to run one.
They got a timeout. There's a flag.
And Aguilar dove to the center of the field.
There's a flag.
False start.
Are you shitting me?
On Tennessee.
All right, this is going to.
Are you shitting me?
This is going to.
No damn way, dog. That's
on the
unforgivable.
With
what they just did
is
and running another play and getting a false start is cardinal sin.
Yeah.
Unreasonably
So Max
bad.
Gilbert is 1-1 today with a 48-yard field goal. This is his first opportunity to win a game for Tennessee. 3rd and 10, 43-yard field goal.
All right, Gilbert. He missed it. He pushed it. The Buffalo Bills are Tennessee.
Yes.
Tune in to College Football Saturdays throughout the college football season live from Grind City Brewing and the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
Crazy quote from Adam Silver. Let me put out this disclaimer first of all. I am not here to defend Adam Silver at all. Adam Silver has a lot of things to criticize, especially if you are a Grizzlies fan, because of how he handled the John Moran situation and all these type of things.
Ridiculous.
And just how he's kind of inconsistent with the way he goes about doing things. Adam Silver has kind of became an easy target, especially when you have like, let's have an all-star game and have rookies playing on Sunday, and he just destroyed the All-Star game last year. It's just this crazy over consumption he has with the NBA All-Star weekend. It's totally crazy to me. That what he said was tacky as hell, and it sounded absolutely crazy. I know for a fact, man, as a guy who is a bootleg king who won't pay for none of this shit, I know it's a lot easier to watch this shit now than it was 5 years ago. And I don't see why other people aren't saying the same thing.
Tune in to the Anthony Sain Show Monday through Fridays at 1 p.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind, live at Bluff City Media's YouTube page, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. The best way to start your day with a cup of coffee and Luke Hatmaker's soothing vocals as he welcomes you into the show. Yes, Wayno, I did in fact talk to Uncle Buck yesterday. He has recovered. Think about Drew, like he has a very like outgoing, super big personality, and then like it doesn't take much. Like one beer unlocks it completely. And that's what we got Saturday. And it was amazing. It was a great time. Y'all make sure you come out to our next one on September 27th. Jared came out and hung out for a while, watched some football with us, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But it was a great time on Saturday, wasn't it, Jared?
It was a great time. I mean, you got Rusty, you turned into at times a moderator and then at times getting ganged up on by Gabe and Drew. And I think it was just some of the best interaction too, because yes, it got loud, but it was never not clear, especially between Gabe and Drew. And it was just a fun time. It was great, dude.
Yeah, it was a good time. They definitely, we were all three in our bag. I told Kenny it was like trying to herd cats, trying to keep those two on task, but it was a great time. Y'all make sure, again, our next one is on Saturday, September 27th. I wish it was November already. Saturday, September 27th. We're going to be out at Grind City Brewing again, hanging out. And Jared, speaking of college football, we had a day full of some upsets, some surprises, some almost upsets. I think we'll start with the Tennessee-Georgia game. Like, what a wild finish. Tennessee had 3 different leads over Georgia late in that game that Georgia kept having to come back from. And Kirby Smart said that we did not deserve to win this game. And I disagree with that. I think that when you didn't play your best game, but when you battle back and you put yourself in a position to win the game, then you've done what you can to deserve to win. And that's what Georgia did. Despite not their best game defensively, they found a way to win in the end.
Yeah, and I think what he's kind of alluding to is, yes, they may not have played the way he wanted to, but also you can't get down double digits again. This is like the 5th year in a row where Tennessee has had a lead in this game and lost the game, and now it's 9 straight years where they haven't won it. And I think Kirby Smart is just sick and tired of not getting out to a good start against Tennessee in the past 5 years. And I think that's where it stems from. But, I mean, also, too, he's talking about the gift of the false start, which backed the kicker up. Maybe he misses it again from 5 yards shorter. Maybe he makes it. But I kind of do agree with Kirby, not necessarily in the sense that, we got an instant classic, but also, too, like, I think he's just sick and tired of their slow starts.
I can see that. I could. But again, you play your game, you stick to the script, you find a way to win. That's exactly what happened. And speaking of finding a way to win, we'll do another quick tour around the SEC because I do want to get to some tailgate therapy for you here in just a minute. Let me read you something. All right. On Saturday night in Death Valley, LSU beat Florida 20-10. Florida's defense is elite. I'll say this. Florida's defense is elite. They're very good. But this is their drive chart, all right? This is Florida's drive chart. Every possession. Field goal, interception, punt. That's the first quarter. Second quarter, punt, touchdown, interception. Third quarter, punt, interception, punt. Fourth quarter, punt, interception, interception. End of game.
Yep.
I asked Drew this, or Two Buck Sports Show was pre-recorded last night because I've still got my training today, so it drops here in a little bit. I asked Drew this, and I asked him and Gabe this in a group chat, and they did not respond. But is it time that we have a conversation about DJ Lagway, or do you still want to be wrong about him?
Man, Florida has a great defense. I'll say that first and foremost. Florida has a great defense.
To hold LSU's offense to 20 points, they've given up 2 offensive touchdowns the entire season.
Yeah.
And they're 1-2.
Yeah, it's tall, dude. It's so I saw that stat. That's where I thought you were going initially. I saw that stat of where they had given up only 2 offensive touchdowns, like you said, 1 and 2. Should we be more concerned about DJ Lagway or the LSU offense in a sense? I know they play Clemson defense and Florida's defense, who's really good, but is there any cause for concern for Nussmeier in them? I mean,
maybe a little, but this is like an elite. Like Florida's defense is elite.
Yes,
you watch the game, you watch the highlights, you watch the tape. Florida's defense is fast. They're aggressive. Yes. They play downhill. That's the one thing they have going for them, and the only reason they're not 0-3 right now is because they played Long Island in week 1. But Lagway just makes terrible decisions. He telegraphs his passes. You know exactly where the ball's going before he even starts his motion because he stares a hole in his receiver. I mean, 5 interceptions. Yeah. I said this stat as well, but so far this year, last year on 192 pass attempts, DJ Lagway had 9 interceptions last season on 192. So far this season, in 100 pass attempts, he has 6. Already.
Yeah. I knew the interception number from that game was up there. I didn't get to watch a lot of that game, but I knew it was up there around 4. I didn't know it was all the way to 5. And that, like I said, I just pulled up the box score. You handed this LSU team the game pretty much. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's maybe you compare him to an Anthony Richardson. I don't know which one of you said it on Saturday. But then again, I know. Yeah, I figured it was you. Because as soon as you said it, they ganged up on you pretty quick. Mm-hmm. It is cause for concern for DJ Lagway. The interception rate is not good.
Yeah, forgive me if it's another athletic quarterback at Florida who just can't hit his marks, who can't hit his spots. Yes, Anthony Richardson could throw it 80 yards. Yes, DJ Lagway is got elite speed, but the decision-making is poor. And as a fan of Mississippi State who rooted for that 2018 team who had the best defense in college football week in and week out, an offensive guru, self-proclaimed Joe Moorhead, couldn't find a pulse on offense. I understand what Florida fans are going through because you're wasting an elite level defense on not even mediocre quarterback play, but on terrible quarterback play.
The one positive I will say about DJ Lagway in that game, now granted, not much to take away positive from that ball game. He hit 8 different guys. He's spreading the ball. So that's just, I think, like you said, maybe, as you said, the times where he's making that interception is where he's not processing the entire defense. And like you said, staring an absolute hole through his receiver, which is allowing defensive backs, especially when you sit in zone coverage where you watch quarterbacks' eyes, it allows those picks. And that's where LSU feasted. Now, granted, you only win by 10 points after you pick them all 5 times.
Again. That's a testament to Florida's defense, I think. And if you want to get technical, DJ Lagway technically distributed the ball to 13 different players. 5 of them just happened to be wearing purple and yellow as well. So
he threw an interception to the same guy twice.
I think it was
because if all 5 interceptions were to 5 different defensive players, and that may be the most impressive feat ever.
I mean, it absolutely could be.
Oh my gosh, it was 4.
It was 4. It was 4. Deshaun Spears had 2. Yeah. But again, y'all can still defend DJ Lagway all you want. Everybody reserves the right to be wrong. It's just interesting that you're exercising yours there. An upset again, very briefly. Shout out to the Ramblin' Wreck. Y'all listen to me. I know ball. I told y'all that was going to happen back in August. And it did. Haynes King and the boys got the big win at home. A couple others, Ohio State cruised. Alabama cruised. Ty Simpson looked better, more comfortable against Wisconsin. Temple cruised. South Florida finally hit a real juggernaut. Miami was not sleeping on South Florida after what they did to Florida. They came out, and Carson Beck is playing like his hair's on fire.
Yeah, Carson Beck he's revitalized down in Miami. And like we saw flashes of this not last year, but the year before and a little bit of time before that of how truly dangerous he could be. I mean, you saw it in the Georgia game was it last year when that instant classic happened against Bama. But you saw a little bit of it last year. This year, it's just, man, he transferred. He basically did a whole reset. And he's like you said, playing with like a man on fire and just absolutely feeling it. He's probably front runner right now for that Heisman.
I think so. Just the way he's carving up defenses and he's playing really well. Like they got some games ahead of him where he can truly prove it. But I've been impressed with Carson Beck so far. Shout out King Meeks in Memphis. Did get a good win over Troy this weekend. Heading into the Arkansas game next weekend, they need the momentum. And speaking of Arkansas, Jared, we do a segment around here called Tailgate Therapy, where I sit with my notepad that I got right here. I just listen and I take notes and allow you to get it off your chest. So, brother, here's your chance. Let's talk about Arkansas Ole Miss.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this with I texted Drew because during the $2 Sports Show on Friday, I'd been working early in the morning after I got off the show with you on Friday, and I got some work done, got caught up. I was watching the show. I went to go sit down on the couch because I had a little bit of a break time. And Rusty, I dozed off because I was exhausted.
Sure.
But I went back and rewatched it before I left the house to go to my game on Friday. Actually, to go to my game on Friday. And I texted Drew and I said, we will not win, but we will cover. And he goes, I like where you're at. Just because, like, that's just how realistic I am, and that's how this game is. And I'm not going to go back and find the full text. So I didn't expect to win, but it still hurts when your team loses, when you don't expect to win, even though in the way that it happened. It's one of those things where Taylor Green looks great. We may have one of the best offenses in college football, followed up right. We may have like a top 10 offense in college football, followed up with a bottom 3 defense in college football. And it sucks. And I saw a stat, Rusty, Sam Pittman is 7-18 in one-score games in his tenure. It's bad. It just gets to a point. Your transfer classes are guys who are sub power 4 and FCS guys. Now, no disrespect to guys who transfer from those levels, just because there's still good talent in there. But when that's 90% of your transfer class, and then you don't do any meaningful recruiting, you're going to get plays like the fumble at the end of the game. And so it's just one of those where it stinks. We had a chance if we could have stopped them on 3rd and 1 to get the ball back with 35, 40 seconds left. And but I will say I'm positive simply for the fact of how well Taylor Green played and just how well he looked and how well our run game in general looked. Yes, Taylor had to get out of some sticky spots, but overall our run game in the backfield with Braylon Russell and a couple other guys looked great. So it hurts that we lost, but I'm not too disappointed with how they performed.
Yeah, you outgained Ole Miss. You went toe-to-toe with a high-powered offense. Granted, it was their backup quarterback, which you didn't really have a game plan for because of the showmanship that was Lane Kiffin. 353 yards through the air for Trinidad and Tobago. I know, right? For Chambliss. We didn't get our first punt of the game until the 3rd quarter.
We didn't get our first turnover of the game until the 4th quarter.
The defense was very much optional, right? There was only one turnover. It was that fumble at the end that killed Arkansas. When you had a shot, you 7 plays, 53 yards, you're moving the football, and then to fumble like that and give it away. It's a brutal way to lose, but it feels like it's just another installment of this rivalry because it's just such a bitter, back and forth, weird rivalry.
Yeah, and you said defense was optional. I think if you go back to it since the 2020 season where the game was like 21 to something or something like that, I think each game has had each team score over 30 since then.
There was a stretch. So Arkansas missed a field goal in the opening drive of the game. Then there were 8 straight touchdowns scored. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Ole Miss kicked a field goal to end the half. So there was 9 straight scoring possessions before we got our first 2 punts in the 3rd quarter. And then we went right back at it with an Ole Miss touchdown, another missed Arkansas field goal. And again, Arkansas had
2 field goals. Missed 6 points, and you lose by 6.
Yep. I mean, there it is. Arkansas had their opportunities. They had their chances to win. Yes, Edward, I do think that Clemson is frauds, but also watch out for Georgia Tech. They've got a very favorable schedule ahead of them. They're playing inspired football, and I am a huge fan of Brent Key, their head coach. So give credit where credit's due. Yes, Clemson's a fraud. Georgia Tech is also a good football team.
If Georgia Tech finishes top 3 in the ACC, I think there's a real argument, even if they don't make the championship game, where the ACC could get 3 teams in, depending on how well Miami and Florida State do the rest of the way.
You're gonna have to. Georgia Tech's gonna have to go 10-2.
Yeah,
you're gonna have 10 wins to get that on large bid, and hope that the SEC vultures itself.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
11-1.
Yeah, because the SEC, if the SEC's got to vulture itself quite a bit in order to get it down to that. Yeah. So. But before we get out of here, we always do a segment called It's a Trap. Those of you not familiar, It's a Trap is named in remembrance of Admiral Akbar, helped defeat the Rebel Alliance, or he was a part of the Rebel Alliance, defeating Darth Vader in the Star Wars movies. Almost Ole Miss mascot while we're on that topic as well. But what we do, Luke gives us 3 bets from FanDuel.com, and we are here. My guest, which today is Jared, is here to pick out which one is the trap. So, Jared, we've got 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, and so we're going anytime Monday Night Football touchdown score. So, anytime, single touchdown, any touchdown tonight. I got 3 options. You pick out one. Which one is a trap? All right. Option 1, Nick Chubb plus 100. Option 2, Nico Collins plus 140, or Mike Evans plus 470. Anytime touchdown score.
I'm going to take Evans. I feel like Evans is going to be a lot closer to that as wide receiver 1. Yes, Igbuka is good, but Evans is still your wide receiver 1. The only one above him on that team may be Bucky Irving, but I feel like he's closer maybe to that plus 200 range, because the only one on that team above him would be Bucky Irving, in my opinion.
Well, nailed it. Nice job, sir. So
yes.
Nick Chubb
I'm 1-1 now.
Yes, sir. Back on the winning ways. I probably gave you a bit of an easier one, but we got Nick Chubb at plus 100. Nico Collins is plus 140. Yes, Mike Evans is next at plus 250. Okay. CJ Stroud for the Houston Texans is plus 470. Ibuka is plus 200. Okay. Anytime touchdown score as well. So,
so he was higher than that. Wow. Okay.
Yep. So we got Monday Night Football tonight. We got 2 games real quick. Tune in. We've got the first game is the Chargers and Texans, 9:00 game kickoff, Raiders and Chargers. Who's your take on those 2? What are you going to, what do you got? Bucks or Texans, and then Chargers or Raiders?
Bucks, Texans. I think Bucks, just with Baker Mayfield being good in that one. But also, you're not going to hear me pick Chargers and Raiders. It's probably going to be the Chargers. They're 2 divisional rivals of Denver. So if they can tie, that'd be great. But you never root for a tie. But I will say, I think the Chargers take that one against Las Vegas.
I think you're 2 for 2. I got Bucks and I got Chargers as well. But that's going to do it for your Monday edition of the Daily Grind. Thanks for hanging out with me and Jared and being here. Luke will be back tomorrow. Jared, thanks today, man. I appreciate you being here, buddy, hanging out with me and hopping on the mic, sir.
Oh, no problem, man. Anytime.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thanks to everybody in the comments. And Bueno saying, King Meeks, Edward, the usual suspects here today. Appreciate y'all being here. Be back tomorrow. We got the 2 Bucks at 11. Anthony's saying at 1. In the meantime, go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to The Daily Grind. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We'll see you back here next time.